How's it going, my fellow cosplay and printers? If you want to learn how to make this 3D printed Red Hood LED light up helmet, stay tuned for this video. It's going to be a really awesome one. We're going to be going straight from 3D files to printing to prep and painting and also wiring up. So let's get right to it, shall we? Alright, so here we have the Red Hood helmet on Kira. We're going to be using some eSun Black PLA Plus. We're going to have it at 60% infill. We're going to have it on a raft. It's going to take around 2 days, 11 hours, and 3 minutes. I have it at a slight angle so that we can get better supports and also less materials. Where is my mouse? There it is. And so we have it at a slight angle. So this is the way it will print. Better view here. There we have it. I don't remember it taking this little amount of materials, but it might have. I just can't remember. But still, really, really cool. All right. Because this is going to take more than 2 days, I'm probably not going to film the back plate. But it's also at 60% infill. It's going to take around 16 hours and 41 minutes. It's going to take less than 200 grams of plastic. And yeah, so let's get started on printing. Alright, and the fourth helmet now that I've printed is at 2 days, 5 hours, and 44 seconds complete. You'll be seeing the time lapse of the red one, and that's the same amount of time that it took for this one, so I'm not going to really change it. And there we have it off the build plate. So, let's get this support off, shall we? Alright, so I got most of the support off. There's still some around the eyes that I need to do, but I'm going to have to use my heat pen for that. I'm going to have to sand the rest of this support off. I can't get close enough with the clippers itself. And so we are going to start the sanding process. We are going to be doing an 80 grit and then a 120. And then I'm going to go in with the heat pen around here and then a sanding sponge around here, then repeat the process, but with a higher grit as well, just so I can get this close up. Then we will be moving on to primer filler. So sorry, before the primer filler, I am going to fix this slight crack that's right here. It's not really a crack, it's more just like it didn't fully like fill right there. So I'll be doing some primer filler there. But then, I mean, not filler primer, but wood filler there. And then we will be moving on to the filler primer, and we'll sand it all down again, make sure it's nice and smooth, and then it will be paint time. So let's get right to it, shall we? Alright, it is sanded down to 80 and then 120. I am going to cover this thing in wood filler, and because I've noticed with Bondo, for some reason it softens up the plastic. And it's also very meticulous on how you sand it. So if you don't sand it with the right grit, it just chips off. So I'm going to be using some wood filler. So let's get that started, shall we? All right, we got it sanded down to 600 grit, and we are going to be using now some flat black Kylon spray paint for all of the black lines, the eyes, and all of this area. I'm going to be doing some very light spritzing because I don't want it to have to sand too much around the edges and then disrupt everything. And yeah, so there are areas some here that are slightly imperfected, but Red Hood's helmet is supposed to slightly imitate cloth. So I thought I'd leave it to show like, oh, it's distressed because it's cloth. So yeah, let's get on to the painting, shall we? All right, so what you just saw was the complete paint of the Red Hood helmet. Well, the base, the first layer. The way I wanted to do it didn't quite work out, so I just covered it all in black, sanded it down with a 600 grit, and then painted it with this gloss apple red Rust-Oleum American Accent Ultra Cover Paint Primer Gloss. And so what we're going to be using for the black lines is this Krylon Fusion All-in-Paint Primer Matte Black. It's a really nice paint. And you can see that I've already painted this or taped this all off. Jesus, what a pain in my butt was to paint this all or tape this all off. But it's all done. I'm going to show you how I painted the red while painting the black because I made a setup for it. So let's get right to it, shall we? All right, so here's my paint setup. It's just an old box that I made into a paint booth type thing with an old shop vac hooked up to it to suck up all the dust with a filter right there. And then connected to all of this is some blocks of wood on top of, sorry, this turntable so that I can quickly turn things around and paint at an angle. It's really nice setup. Much better than just doing that out in the open air. So, time for paint. All right, it is all painted up now. I added some silver to act as some metallic silver to act as some battle damage. It's not perfect by any means, but it is the best one that I have gotten. And honestly, it looks absolutely amazing. I'm super happy with it. First successful one. Now it's on to the clear coat, then pads, and then the glowing eyes, the light up eye, LED eyes. I'm sorry, light up LED eyes. All right, time for clear coat. Alright, so the Red Hood helmet is fully painted up with some battle damage, including a bullet straight to the forehead. You can see some of the char from the gunpowder and some of the silver of the metal underneath. Did that to cover up some accidental mistakes, like including here. The paint job is, I'm happy with it. I'm really not that good with painting, so with this, I'm actually pretty happy with it. The one thing is, though, is that for some reason the back here is a different shade of red. I'm okay with it. I'm not that picky. And it actually fits my head pretty well. It's a little bit tight getting it on, but that is okay. With the balaclava on, they'll tuck my ears in. I'll be able to get in there really nicely. The airsoft pads that I included work really nice. It keeps my head nice and tight. The next step is that we are going to be putting some LED light strip, LED eyes in like these into the eyes here in the inside. Now, the one thing is these are slightly too big. I did buy 4 of these, and on experimenting on one, I did 2 different methods on how to shrink them down. I tried cutting them, still lit up, but obviously it doesn't look all that well. Then the other one I actually used, because this is acrylic, it's plastic, which means it can melt. So I used my hot pen to basically cut it, and it actually worked out really nicely, and it still lights up. Let me put some batteries on and show you. Which is why I'm glad I bought 4, so that I could experiment and not just have to suffer. Here it is. Actually still looks really nice. Those spots, because I actually originally used this to glue that in there, and I kind of messed up, and I discovered that these need to be smaller. So these are a soft white. So it looks really nice. I can see through them as long as there's light on the other side. It kind of dulls this. So let's get started cutting and get right to it, shall we? But check out that mask. It's still pretty good. I'm still happy this is my first successful one, so I'm still happy. It's all right. Okay, so these, I'm planning on using these. Okay, where's the pen? All right, so that's heating up. So these right here, they come with some, basically some plastic in them so they don't get scratched up. I need to take that off. Now, I gotta make sure I do this with enough space so that so I want to basically, let's do this much cutting off, but I don't want to any more than that because I want enough space. And I'm using the sharp end of my hot knife. Let's get that over here. And just going like that. I got to position the cord for this for a second. There we go. So let's get this done, shall we? And then you just mold it. And there you have one done. Shorter, it'll fit better. Actually works out really nicely, so super cool. And it's going to still light up, so on to the next one, and then we'll start gluing it in. So, for the pads we are using these airsoft pads. They come with an adhesive on it for you can place it in specific spots wherever you want. Sorry, my desk is so messy right now. I'm trying to clean the area while also 3D printing something. So you got these 2 big ones right here. So I'll probably use these for the top of it and also the back plate. And then all of these I will reposition as needed. But let's get that done, shall we? Alright, so here it is all wired up. I'm just using some blue painter's tape to keep the wires out of the way. The battery pack and switch is just attached with some Velcro that I cut into a small sliver and then got onto there. Stuck the back of the Velcro on the back of this so I can just slide this off if I ever need to switch out the batteries. Here's all the foam padding on the inside. Alright, time for you guys to see it on. Let's get right to it, shall we? Alright, so starting off with the balaclava. Now it is a tight fit, so. Here it is with the helmet on. Don't know if you can hear me all that well. And here it is, like so. Now right now the visibility is really low because it's not bright everywhere. And I can't really all see that well out of this. But, like this, I can see just fine. Still looks really cool, fits really well. It looked really nice with everything. My chin is a little bit too big. Luckily I have the balaclava covering it. But still, really nice. Looks pretty good though. Turned out well. Alright, on to the next project, which we have some Bloodborne and some more Red Hood projects. And taking it off is just as easy as this. Still goes on pretty well though. Turns out really well. I am happy with my first successful one. It is some slightly different shades of red on here. It's unfortunate, but maybe my next one will be better with all that I have learned. So, on to the next project. In case you didn't hear me with the helmet on, we've got some Bloodborne and more Red Hood projects. Next up for Red Hood, we have the belt and boot accessory kit. And then we still have the gun to do, because I'm doing another one because I accidentally forgot to film most of the sanding, prepping, and painting process, and the only bit I have is the end of it. And then we have a lot more Bloodborne projects to do. I have a lot to do before May, so stay tuned. It's going to be a lot of cosplay and a lot of 3D printing videos. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. As always, my fellow collectors, have a nice day, and peace out. Check that out. That looks so cool. Alright, on to the next project.